Yes, in this video, we will stylistically analyze the fable entitled The Rabbits Who Caused All the Troubles by James Thurber. As a review, stylistics is the branch of linguistics concerned in the study of style in text, especially but not exclusively in literary works. But before anything else, let us dig some useful information about the author. James Thurber was born in Columbus, Ohio on December 8, 1894. He was a humorist, a cartoonist, a playwright, an author, and a journalist known for his quirky and relatable themes and characters. Let us now proceed to the overview of the fable. It is a story about a family of rabbits who fell as the victims of wolves' prejudice. They are often held responsible for natural disasters such as earthquakes, flood, and lightnings, which have obviously had nothing to do with the way they pound the ground with their hind legs, munch lettuce, or nibble carrots. The wolves were just seeking for lame and illogical justifications to ravish the rabbits. The rabbits were well aware of their capabilities, so they confronted the reality and chose to flee. Some animals, on the other hand, shamed them and guaranteed to defend them if the wolves attacked. Apparently, they didn't follow through their pledge. The rabbits were eventually enslaved by the wolves' wrath. Furthermore, since this fable occurred during the time period of World War II, the wolves represents the majority who have shown unreasonable prejudice and animosity to the rabbits, who represents the minority such as the Jews that were persecuted in Nazi Germany. The rest of the animals serves as the other nations of the world, which were mute witnesses of the events that led to the Holocaust as they transpired. So the fable goes like this: The Rabbits Who Caused All the Trouble by James Thurber. Within the memory of the youngest child, there was a family of rabbits who lived near the pack of wolves. The wolves announced that they did not like the way the rabbits were living. The wolves were crazy about the way they themselves were living because it was the only way to live. One night, several wolves were killed in an earthquake, and this was blamed on the rabbits. For it is well known that rabbits pound on the ground with their hind legs and cause earthquakes. On another night, one of the other wolves was killed by a bolt of lightning. And this was also blamed on the rabbits, for it is well known that lettuce eaters cause lightning. The wolves threatened to civilize the rabbits if they didn't behave. The rabbits decided to run away to a desert island, but the other animals who lived at a great distance shamed them, saying, "You must stay where you are and be brave. There is no world for escapists. If the wolves attack you, we will come to your aid in all probability." So the rabbits continued to live near the wolves, and one day, there was a terrible flood which drowned a great many wolves. This was blamed on the rabbits, for it is well known that carrot nibblers with long ears cause floods. The wolves descended on the rabbits for their own good and imprisoned them in a dark cave for their own protection. When nothing was heard about the rabbits for some weeks, the other animals demanded to know what happened to them. The wolves replied that the rabbits had been eaten, and since they had been eaten, the affair was a purely internal matter. But the other animals warned them that they might possibly unite against the wolves unless some reason was given for the destruction of the rabbits. So the wolves gave them one. "They were trying to escape," said the wolves, "and as you know, there is no world for escapists." Moral: run, don't walk, to the nearest desert island. Let us now analyze the fable using the 5 linguistic features of stylistics. In lexicosemantic level, the line, "For it is well known that rabbits pound on the ground with their hind legs and cause earthquake," is an example of a figure of speech, a hyperbole to be exact, since the author used exaggerated words such as "the rabbits pound on the ground" to explain what have caused the earthquake. Let us now proceed to the syntactic level. Let us analyze the sentence, The wolves threatened to civilize the rabbits if they didn't behave, and the rabbits decided to run away to a deserted island. The pattern of the sentence is SVGPDOPA, wherein the wolves serves as the subject, threatened to civilize serves as the verb group since there were two verbs that were used. The rabbit serves as the DO or the direct object since it is the receiver of the action. If they didn't behave serves as the predicative, and the rabbits decided to run away to a deserted island is the adjunct. For the phonological level, let us analyze the two sentences. The wolves announced that they did not like the way the rabbits were living. The wolves were crazy about the way they themselves were living because it was the only way to live. We can infer in those two sentences that the author used the word live thrice. Thus, he was trying to put emphasis on the difference between the way of living of the rabbits and the wolves. In the graphological level, since The Rabbits Who Caused All the Trouble is not a poem but rather a fable, it is written in paragraphs and only used dialogues twice to present the exchange of conversations. The author also used proper punctuation, spelling, and typography. In lexical repetition, we should highlight how Thurber used the same sentence, "There is no world for escapists," but in two different scenarios. Thus, we could reflect that the author criticized the cowardice of the rabbits since they decided to run away. In reality though, boldness is not always the best option. What could have happened if the rabbits had simply followed the wolves' orders and didn't let the other animals to dictate their lives? They could have been saved. Let us now analyze the tone of the fable. There was a subtle use of satire since Thurber used exaggerated words to expose what had happened during the World War II. I have come up with two themes in this fable. First, bravery is not always the best option. Sometimes it is better to run away and choose your safety and peace of mind rather than wasting your time improving yourself. Second, we should not let others to dictate our own lives. The Rabbits Who Caused All the Trouble by James Thurber reflects the cruel reality that we live in. How error-plugged our society can be, the strong and powerful takes advantage of the poor and the oppressed. The weak are often forced to take the blame for everything due to the fact that they don't have any resources to defend themselves. Furthermore, the fable also wanted us to reflect that we shouldn't let the other people to dictate our own lives. We are the protagonists of our own stories, just like the other animals who shamed them and promised to help them. They only have the audacity to shame the cowardice of the rabbits because they were not on their shoes. Did they lend a hand when the wolves attacked? No. In life, the only person that you should trust the most is yourself. Follow the path that you think is right and stop minding what other people might say. You do you. Language has played a pivotal role in establishing our society. Our works, whether it be literary or non-literary text, or even our academic speeches, has been our bittersweet escape from this reality that we live in. It helps us organize our thoughts and express our opinions and identities as an individual. Stylistic analysis enables us to examine and appreciate linguistics. When we analyze or interpret a certain text, we are not only criticizing the work of the author, we connect with the author. James Thurber did not fail to use satire and even use animals as characters to present reality. This fable is not only meant to serve as a mirror about the rich and the poor, it also reflects what had happened to the minorities during the World War II. Run, don't walk to the nearest deserted island is the moral of the story, reminding us that it is fine to feel weak and run away, for as long as it will give you peace and save you from danger.